Hey, good morning, everybody. Just a quick check-in. Um, I'll get started because this is funny. So Angus Fletcher, who wrote the creativity half of this course, who's been my research partner with the Army, and I've been helping him spread the word through the community. Just started an AI company with Eric Larson, who's a professor of artificial intelligence and an entrepreneur, he's in the circle of influence with Peter Thiel of PayPal, which spawned Elon Musk and Jack Dorsey and Mark Cuban. So they've started up the AI company. It's Fletcher's dad chewed him out and said, you're going to raise money and then sell this algorithm, essentially. What he's doing is following my guidance on how to develop AI that's useful for people. In our military project, we're trying to figure out how to create an AI that a commander would rely on to make important decisions. So DARPA wants to fund a war game competition where artificial intelligence teams would develop their AI and then battle in a war game, and then the winner of that battle would get access to the $150 million DARPA contract to build out this artificial intelligence advisor. So when we were studying Fletcher's creativity treatment and then running this research project, I wrote the little test question for the before and after, so that you would try to solve a problem in a creative way, then take the class, and then try to solve a problem in a creative way, and then we would compare the amount of creativity that we saw in the before and after with a panel of experts. And then we could see if the test group did better than the control group, which they did in several interesting ways. So one of the questions I wrote with this in mind was describe the artificial intelligence robot that you would want when you're a commander in 5 years, and how would you use it? What would you be afraid of? How much risk do you see in doing that, and how would you protect against that risk? So they had to answer those questions. So we collected about 500 answers to that question. And then the panel just figured out, well, how creative is it and whatnot. But what I actually have now is 500 snapshots of what future end users of artificial intelligence, what they might want and how they feel about AI. Now, the things that they're worried about may be things that the AI scientific community already says, dude, that's not even a problem. We've already figured that out, and you're worried about nothing. Well, that would be good to know, because then we have an educational problem. And they may say, hey, we never thought that you would want to use AI that way. We thought you would, like a couple people said, I would like my AI robot to have the qualities of my mother, and that would be nurturing of me when it sensed that I was depressed or whatever, and I would get like an emotional support dog, but a robot, that I could trust because I knew that it was always consistent. It wasn't blowing smoke up my... Anyway, so we're going to turn that into a giant requirements document. So they asked me to help them design the war game that would be used to test the different artificial intelligences. And what I told them was that the competition you want would be to develop an AI that could help me learn faster and better as a dedicated, adaptive, personalized mentor. So it would use shifting topics and spaced repetition in such a way that I would maximize my learning across a wide variety of things, and that would promote my own self-sufficiency in case we lost the grid, and then I would be a self-contained, amazing person. That's like the same problem of I don't have to teach you mathematics anymore because we have calculators and computers. Yeah, but what if you lose the grid? And now nobody knows how to do math. So, what they're doing now with that artificial intelligence thing is that they're developing that learning robot, but with a view towards having it search through Google, Amazon, Netflix, YouTube to find things that will promote my own education, enlightenment, and entertainment. And then, so it would be steering me through the ever expanding range of offerings in a reliable way. And it would learn from me. So that's the same thing. That's the same thing that I said that they should do for learning. So their goal is to raise probably $5 million to start the company, to build it out, and then in a couple years sell it to a competition between Amazon, Google, Netflix, Facebook. And I told them, don't forget DARPA because it's the same robot. And they said, oh, yeah, that's right. So they're selling ownership interests, 1% ownership interest at $50K per slice. And Fletcher's dad said to raise the $5 million. And Fletcher's dad told him, look, you're just going to make the fat cats fatter. Here it is, you're just screwing the little guy. So he asked me how I would structure that so that little guys could get in on that. I said, well, and he was going to go through something where he was going to contact 50 people and raise $1,000. I said, don't do that. The time and effort to do that and the risk of litigation if they lost $1,000, you'd get smoked. You're going to lose that. So I said, instead, just have these fat cats kick in $50K and commit that the results of whatever the $50K earns goes into a trust in order to distribute microloans through kiva.org or Heifer International, so that you are not just giving monkeys a bag of money, but you are helping to fund people with a dream, a plan, and action, but they just need capital. And I said, for example, I put a couple grand into kiva.org 10 years ago. That thing has cycled through lending the money and $25 at a time and getting the money back and then reloaning it. That 2K has been loaned out 10 times. And I keep getting all my money back. So I just keep that thing running like a perpetual motion machine. Except it's got a 1% drag on it. 5% of the loans don't perform, which makes the overall capital deplete at a rate of 1% annually. If they could figure out how to change the loan structures for a 2% difference, that thing would be infinitely sustainable because the capital would be growing. If they could figure out how to get in front of inflation, that would be even better. And I said, well, that way what you're doing, you can have your dad write up the terms of the trust. And if this thing really does pay off, it would be amazing, because the next note that he sent me was, yeah, that's what we're going to do. And the valuation from their investment bank came back and put them at 9 figures. So they're thinking if this thing pays off, it's worth $1 billion. And 1% of $1 billion is 10 million. So there's a chance for that 50K to go to 10 million, which would fund that trust for quite a long while and do good in the world. So that was a pretty good morning at work on Monday. And the next email came from some people that were inviting me to present my success story of doing this Rizuku coursework to the several thousand business owners who are learning to develop courses, and they're going to see what we're doing, and that's going to be some free chicken, and I'm hoping that it just explodes, because the people who have enough money to spend $2,000 on learning how to develop their own home study courses for the expertise they have, it turns out that if you can spend $2,000 on that, you're probably right in the wheelhouse for people that know how to trade. And So there will be like a double tap. So I'm figuring out a way to be humble and lovable on Tuesday when I'm in this podcast that's going to go to 20,000 people that are looking to make courses. They have discretionary money, and they can be charmed by a hypnotist. So that was a pretty good Monday at work because I got both of those events happened at the same time. I wanted to put that on the in the introduction because I want to get it in the course because none of that happens if I don't meet Angus Fletcher, you know. And I don't meet Angus Fletcher if I don't have one of my students 3 or 4 years ago. Uh, I was looking for a way to challenge him more in the classroom because he was surrounded by average officers and he needed to be stretched. And so I spent extra time stretching him, got him interested in grad school. He went to University of Chicago grad school at night to get an MBA in entrepreneurship. His professor during COVID said, "Man, I'm really interested in how you military guys think." He called me, my student, said, "Hey, you should meet my professor." So we started talking. I started talking about storytelling and the work I'd been doing with Boji and with, finance and financial markets. And he says, "Man, you should talk to my new friend Angus Fletcher, who's studying story science at Ohio State." And on that thin, small little seed, the entire apparatus follows. I mean, the fact that we are going to put the book on creativity that I asked Fletcher to write for us is going to be broadcast across Army University for 7,000 faculty and 200,000 students a year so that we can influence our senior leaders on how to become more creative. Oh, that's the same book that you guys are studying right now with those little chapters. Only the Army's not going to get the financial lessons and the trading lessons. And I'm trying to persuade them that little get-togethers like this where we exchange true stories is a tremendously powerful leverage for all these individual lessons. So I'm working on that one too. It turns out that the intersection of Fletcher's creativity to generate new ideas and a willingness to explore uncertainty, combined with the technical skills of anything you want to learn, plus the true storytelling synthesis of a community of practice that's trustworthy and forgiving and supportive, turns out to be an unbelievable pile of leverage for good. So you guys kind of are getting to see that on the front end and from the inside of what that is all about. But I take it back to the story seed of, me and that student 4 years ago didn't know what COVID was going to happen, and the spiral that comes off of this, and all the spiral development is very much, and Tom will resonate with this, and Chin Long is on a tractor, the power takeoff shaft is used to drive all the farm implements at various times. So you have this tractor that you use to plow the fields. So you think that's what it's for. It's a mobile power source that does work wherever you need it. So it's got a little drive shaft on it. You can hook up implements and it drives everything you need. Now, it'll also rip your arm off and kill you if you're not paying attention, because it'll grab your clothing and it'll just go because it's got enough torque and power to plow the earth. It'll take your arm right off. So pay attention to that thing and have good design so that it's fail-safe. But all of that happens from that little moment of being interested in how to develop skills in a person and then just keep saying yes and keep saying yes and then what if and explore the space. And be well prepared but unplanned. So if you think about plan, prepare, execute, and assess, plan, hey, okay. My plan is not to fall off a cliff. It's like I treat planning the same way I treat planning with my little soccer guys when I pull them together at halftime, and I'm trying to just keep them focused on our purpose there. What's our plan? Well, we're going to guard our goal, steal the ball, go to the goal, dribble, 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 shoot, and score in a sing-song tone so that they can repeat after me. And it reinforces these foundational attitudes about what they're going to do so they feel in a way that lets them play forward as a team. So that's how important planning is. I mean, it's important, but really it's the preparation. Because without the preparation, you miss all of these tangents. You got to have a power takeoff shaft attached to that engine. So Fletcher's creativity is this engine that is actually it's not. It's the door to the engine that is inside you that you think is locked or is not even there. There's a hidden door because of what we've been educated as. Modern education is designed to control access to that door. All you got to do is open that door, and the natural features of your brain will naturally provide creative sparks. Now, if you're not prepared, you get to watch it like a sparkler. Oh, look at the pretty sparkler, all that neat stuff. If you're prepared, you do that in a place where there's kindling and paths to grow the fire towards useful purposes. So that's the management of innovation. Managing the innovation funnel that rapidly takes you from a creative spark efficiently and effectively towards an implementation that creates value in a new way and is self-sufficient and just is a controlled burn. That's what Fletcher's creativity is. The technical material learning is the reliable transmission gearbox that allows you to use leverage to take the energy, the power output of the engine, and then apply it to the wheels. And then execution is learning how to use your gears in order to maintain traction with the wheels where the rubber meets the road. And then you got to steer the damn thing. And where are you going with it, and what are you doing, and what are you trying? But you got to know where the power is being generated from, which is inside your evolutionary brain, which is wired and geared to use stories to understand new things and to remember the old things and to communicate wise things. Good Lord, was that any good? So that was my check-in. It's been a pretty good week here in Kansas.